The daughter always locked the fridge when her father was away, and when the police checked, they were shocked. "Lucy, I'll be on a business trip for 3 days. Remember to lock the door carefully, and don't open it for anyone you don't know." "Yes. Turn on the stairway light at night. And, don't forget the fridge." Lucy nodded. The 14-year-old girl didn't blink once as Mr. Allen bent down to gently kiss her forehead before hurrying out the door. The sound of the suitcase wheels rolling over the tiled floor seemed to echo some emptiness inside her. As soon as the door slammed shut, Lucy took a heavy iron padlock out of the drawer and walked straight to the kitchen. "Just 3 days," she whispered, "just 3 days." The clank of the padlock echoed dully as Lucy tightly locked it around the handle of the silver double-door refrigerator. Then, she quietly checked every door, every window. Bottom lock, top bolt, safety latch all secured. The living room light was left on, its white glow flickering slightly, but she didn't turn it off. In the house across the street, Mrs. Lisa was washing dishes, her eyes not leaving the shadow of Lucy moving quietly behind the curtain. "There she goes again," she muttered. "Every time her dad leaves, that girl acts like a prison guard." Her husband, Mr. Rick, sat in an armchair sipping coffee. "You're suspicious again, Lisa. Don't you see it? Ever since they moved into this neighborhood, Mr. Allen always comes home late or is out of town. And Lucy, she locks all the doors tight every time he's away, turns on all the lights like she's scared of ghosts. And have you ever seen anyone lock a refrigerator? Maybe she's just got some kind of trauma. That's what I'm saying. So traumatized she opens the fridge every night just to look, then closes it again. Then she checks the locks for an hour." Mr. Rick snorted, muttering, "Come on, don't let your imagination run wild again." But Mrs. Lisa didn't see it that way. The next morning, while watering her petunias in front of the house, she saw Lucy step outside carrying 2 huge plastic bags filled with canned food and bottled water. The girl moved quickly, head down, avoiding eye contact. Mrs. Lisa frowned slightly. That afternoon, she stopped Lucy at the gate. "Lucy, were you at the market?" Lucy jumped, gripping the bag straps tighter. No. I just bought a few things." "Your dad's on another business trip?" "Yes, just for a few days." "So, you're home alone?" Lucy lowered her head, her voice barely audible. "I'm used to it." "Poor thing," Mrs. Lisa mumbled as Lucy quickly went back inside. Night fell. The ground floor of Lucy's house glowed brightly. Mrs. Lisa sat in her living room, listening. Around midnight, she heard soft noises coming from the house next door, faint clicks, footsteps, then silence. A moment later, there was a rustling sound, then something like a metal door sliding open. "Rick, wake up," she nudged her husband. "Something's wrong." "Again, Lisa," Mr. Rick groaned, pulling the blanket over his head. Mrs. Lisa pulled the curtain aside. "Nothing." But her instincts were rarely wrong. The next morning, as she was taking out the trash, she saw Lucy secretly stuffing something into the public garbage bin at the end of the alley. Mrs. Lisa casually walked closer. A white men's dress shirt, stained with blotchy dried blood on the sleeve. When Lucy saw her, her face turned pale, and she spun around, running back toward her house. "Lucy! Wait, that shirt." "I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry." Mrs. Lisa froze, eyes fixed on the garbage bin. She secretly took the shirt out, wrapped it in a plastic bag, and brought it home. Mr. Rick was horrified when she placed it on the kitchen table. "Lisa! Are you crazy? That thing's covered in blood. Now do you believe me? Still think I'm imagining things? Maybe, it's an accident. A man's shirt. But Alan is supposed to be on a trip. So who wore it?" Mr. Rick was silent. "I'm serious, Rick. There's something really wrong in that house. That girl Lucy. I don't understand why she acts like she's haunted. Like something is lurking. You're going to call the police? Not yet. I'll wait and see. At the same time, inside the house across the street, Lucy sat curled up on her bed. The yellow bedroom light reflected off her pale face and sunken eyes. She stared at the basement door, then glanced over at the tightly locked fridge. Can't let him out, can't, she whispered, as if lulling herself. If he gets out, I'll die. A clattering sound rose from below the floor, and Lucy held her breath. She crept toward the door, pressing her ear against it. A soft thud. Then silence. Not yet, she whispered. Have to wait till morning. Once again, she went down the stairs, checking every bolt. Before returning to her room, Lucy stopped by the kitchen, touching the fridge's lock. Still tight. She let out a soft sigh. Across the street, Mrs. Lisa was still awake, the TV screen casting flickering light on her troubled face. There's something in that house, Rick. Don't you see? Every time her dad's away, the girl lives like a prisoner. And that shirt. You think there's someone in the house? I don't think. I'm sure. She's still buying canned food, Mrs. Lisa murmured, pulling the curtain aside. Still the big bottled water, tuna, pasta. Nothing fresh. I've never seen her cook either. She probably just eats simple stuff. No. I've been watching. She doesn't eat much, Rick. Most of it goes down to the basement. How would you know that? I hear it. On the nights Alan is away, there are sounds of heavy things being dragged down the stairs. The sound of a metal door opening, then closing. Other times, I hear something like a spoon hitting metal. Once. I even heard growling. Growling. Like an animal. Not very loud, but clear. Rick, that girl, she's not living alone. That evening, Lucy struggled to carry 2 bottles of water and a bag of canned goods down to the basement. The staircase was pitch black even though the ceiling light glowed faintly. She stopped in front of the iron door, knocked 3 times. It's me. Don't make noise. No response. Lucy turned the key, opened the door slightly, then pushed the bag inside through the narrow gap. This is all I've got. Dad's coming home soon. A raspy voice came from the darkness. This little? How is that enough? Lucy clenched the hem of her shirt. I don't have much money. And, please, don't make noise at night anymore. The neighbors are getting suspicious. A rough laugh made her shiver. We both know. I'm not someone who stays locked up easily. Lucy didn't reply. She shut the door, locked it quickly, then ran back upstairs, as if afraid that a pair of eyes from the basement were following the back of her neck. The next morning, Mrs. Lisa decided to act. She rang Lucy's doorbell. After a moment, the girl finally answered, eyes dark-ringed, voice hoarse, sorry. I was sleeping. Sleeping? It's 7 in the morning. Lucy silently nodded. Are you okay? Your eyes are sunken, your face pale. You haven't been eating, have you? I'm eating fine, ma'am. Is your dad coming back soon? Lucy hesitated, then answered, tomorrow. So is anyone staying with you? The girl immediately shook her head. No one. I'm alone. Then those noises the past few nights, from the basement, what were they? Lucy looked straight at her, face expressionless. Our basement is for old stuff. The wind makes the door creak. Mrs. Lisa didn't believe it, but said nothing more. As she turned to leave, the girl whispered, please don't pay attention. Please. That afternoon, it rained. Mrs. Lisa sat by the window, drinking tea. Suddenly, a loud noise came from Lucy's house. She jumped up, eyes tense. A scream echoed faintly through the rain, followed by a bang as if someone had slammed into the wall. Rick! Get up! What now, Lisa? I heard something. A scream. Very clear. From Lucy's house. The two rushed to the balcony. But all they saw was rain and the dim light from the neighbor's living room. Early the next morning, Mrs. Lisa went out to take the trash. When she opened the public bin, she found a crumpled, rain-soaked note. Curious, she unfolded it. Scrawled handwriting, distorted. Help me. Don't let him out. He'll kill me. Mrs. Lisa froze, heart racing. She looked around, but no one was there. A chill ran down her spine. She quietly folded the note and slipped it into her pocket. This has gone too far, she whispered. At the same time, inside the house, Lucy was cleaning dried blood off the basement steps. The night before, the man in the shadows had surged up, banging on the basement door like a madman. She had to block it with a bookshelf and her own small body. He knows how to pick the lock, she mumbled. Next time, he'll manage it. She pulled a chair over to the fridge, climbed up, took out a large roll of duct tape, and sealed the fridge edges tightly. The basement key was placed in a plastic container and buried deep in the freezer. No one can find it, Lucy told herself. No one. That evening, as the streetlights began casting golden rectangles on the windowpanes, there was a knock at the door. Lucy peeked through the curtain and gasped. A boy her age stood at the gate, holding a milk carton. Sorry. I'm Matt. My family just moved in down the alley. My mom asked me to return this milk Mrs. Lisa sent by mistake. Lucy opened the door a crack. Who's your mom? Mrs. Lauren. Mrs. Lisa asked her to bake something and sent the milk by mistake. I was told to return it. Lucy hesitated, then opened the gate. Matt looked around, frowning slightly. Your house is really strange. The lights are on day and night. Do you need anything else? No, just curious. Thanks for the milk. Lucy turned back inside. Matt lingered for a few more seconds. I saw a shadow in the basement door. Do you have a younger brother? Lucy froze. No. Then who was it? She shut the door. Locked it tight. Lucy, what happened to you? She jumped, quickly covering the collar of her uniform. In front of her was Emily, her classmate, staring at her. Nothing's wrong. Your shoulder, there's a big bruise. And your eyes are black and blue. Were you in a fight? Lucy shook her head, avoiding eye contact. I tripped on the stairs, at home. Emily was about to ask more when the school bell rang. Lucy rushed to her seat at the back of the classroom, avoiding everyone's gaze. During class, she didn't write, didn't speak, only drew. Lucy, Miss Taylor walked over, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. Are you okay? The girl flinched. I'm sorry if I startled you. But you came to class today with a lot of injuries. Is there anything you want to talk about? Lucy shook her head, eyes fixed on her desk. The white paper in front of her was filled with thick, jagged black lines. I just fell, miss. But you don't look okay. Would you like to stay after class so I can call your guardian? My dad's on a business trip. There's no one at home. Ms. Taylor paused. Then, you can talk to me if there's anything you're afraid of, all right? Lucy just gave a small nod, then stayed silent the rest of the period. At the end of the day, she walked home alone. No one accompanied her. Her classmates often called her the weird girl. She didn't play with anyone. Didn't eat lunch in the cafeteria. Always quietly drawing and writing in her little notebook. That day, Matt waited at the school gate. Lucy. She froze. How did you know where I go to school? I asked Mrs. Lisa. You followed me? Matt shrugged. Just curious. Is something going on in your house? Lucy remained silent. Mrs. Lisa said she hears noises at night. Screaming, metal scraping. Someone's in your house, isn't there? There's no one. Did someone hit you? Lucy lowered her head. You don't understand anything. Then tell me. She didn't answer. Just turned away and hurried off. That afternoon, in her bedroom, Lucy pulled a black-covered notebook from the drawer. On the first page, in crooked handwriting, it said, "Do not open the door. Do not speak. Do not trust anyone." She flipped through the pages. Journal entries filled with fear. Last night he called my name again. With a voice soft like a lullaby. I don't know who the real monster is anymore. If I fall asleep and he gets out, I'll lose everything. Lucy sat curled up by the window. It was already dark. In the kitchen, the fridge was still locked. The basement was silent. But silence was even more frightening. Suddenly, there was a loud banging at the door. She ran down and peeked through the peephole. It was Matt. Please open the door. No. What's in the basement? Go away. I brought this. Matt held up a sandwich box. Lucy opened the door a crack, hand still clutching the latch. Give it here and leave. Matt handed her the box but didn't leave. I saw light from the basement, Lucy. Who's down there? It's none of your business. Are you being held? Did someone hurt you? No one did. Matt pulled out a piece of paper from his pocket. This your handwriting? Lucy froze. It was the note she had thrown in the trash. Help me. Don't let him out. Mrs. Lisa gave it to me. She said I have to find a way to help you. But you won't cooperate. I don't need help. You do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have written a plea for help. Lucy gasped. Her hands were shaking. Go, Matt. Before he knows you're here. Matt frowned. Who is he? She slammed the door. That night, the clattering from the basement was louder than usual. Lucy lay still on her bed, afraid to close her eyes. Then a voice called out, Lucy. She clutched her pillow, trembling. Lucy, are you there? The voice was raspy, warm, cloaked in darkness. She got up, walked down the stairs. At the bottom, the iron door was trembling slightly. I won't be locked in forever. Lucy backed away, tears rolling down her face. She ran upstairs, into her room, and locked the door. Collapsing at her desk, she opened her journal again. I saw him smiling in the dark. He knows I'm getting weaker. I'm afraid I'm getting used to that shadow. Time passed. Lucy continued living in a blur of fear and curiosity. Lucy, don't go into the basement. But Dad left my paint set down there. I need it for homework. Mr. Allen frowned, his eyes suddenly drifting elsewhere. The paint set. I'll get it for you. Go back to your room. I know where it is. I just need to turn on the light and... I said no going down there, he snapped suddenly, startling Lucy. But I just... No one is allowed in the basement without me there. Understand? Lucy nodded, backing away, but her eyes remained fixed on the iron door at the end of the hall. Her father had never forbidden her so clearly before. And never had he locked the basement with 2 padlocks like this time. The next morning, she looked at her father differently. Dad, what's in the basement? That place is for old stuff. I heard someone talk. Mr. Allen froze, then sat down at the dining table, gripping his coffee cup tightly. Lucy, there's someone living down there. He's my younger brother. I never heard you had a brother. Carl, he's not like other people. He suffered severe psychological trauma after an accident. I'm helping him. But you can't tell anyone. Understand? Why not take him to a hospital? Carl doesn't like hospitals. He once tried to end his life there. I keep him here, take care of him. Just a few more months, once things are stable, you won't have to worry. Then why keep it from me? Because Carl has uncontrollable behavior. He doesn't want to hurt anyone, but sometimes he can't control his violence. I didn't want to scare you. Lucy was quiet for a long time. I'm scared now, Dad. One night, while Mr. Allen was away, heavy rain poured. Lucy was reading when she heard a knock at her door. Not the front door. Her bedroom door. She walked over, hand trembling as it reached the handle. She opened it, no one there. Just a folded piece of paper on the floor. Thank you for listening to me. Lucy gasped, turned and ran, heart pounding like a drum. The next day, she told her father about it. I swear I locked the basement, Mr. Allen said, his eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep. He's not supposed to be up here. I'll add another lock. And you, keep your distance, Lucy. Carl isn't the same anymore. Maybe he shouldn't be here. You don't understand. He's my family. If I abandon him, who else will take him in? Lucy bit her lip. And what about me, Dad? What am I in this house? He didn't respond. One afternoon, as Lucy returned home from school, she found the basement door ajar. The padlock had been broken. She gasped, her heart leaping to her throat. The kitchen was a mess. Utensils scattered, chairs out of place. Grabbing a small pair of scissors, she stepped carefully, 1 foot at a time. Then, a soft chuckle echoed from the living room. Hello, Lucy. A man sat on the chair, hair disheveled, beard scruffy, eyes deep and clouded. He wore her father's old sweater, torn and filthy. You're Carl. Yes. He stood up. You've grown so fast. Just 2 years ago, you were the little girl sneaking peeks through the basement crack, bringing me food. Lucy backed away. I'm not trying to scare you. I just wanted to breathe some air. Do you know how long it's been living in the dark? I'm not supposed to talk to you. Dad said so. Carl smiled. So what are you going to do? Call the police? Tell the neighbors? Who would believe you? A girl shunned by her classmates, alone, afraid of the light. Lucy trembled. You have to go back to the basement. Or I'll scream. Carl stepped closer. Go ahead. They'll come. And they'll see your father as a man illegally locking someone in his basement. Who do you think they'll call crazy? You, or your father? Lucy took a deep breath, trying to steady her voice. I'm not afraid. You're shaking. Suddenly, Carl lunged, grabbing her arm and pulling hard. Lucy swung the scissors, stabbing his shoulder. He screamed and let go. She fell, hitting her head on the edge of the table. Blood streamed from her forehead. Her vision blurred. But Carl's voice rang clear. You little brat. You'll regret this. Lucy scrambled up and ran straight to the door. He chased after her, but slipped on the spilled dishes and crashed to the floor. She snatched the padlock, shoved him back into the basement, and locked it tight. Panting, tears poured down her face. No one will believe me, but I have to survive. From that day on, Lucy was no longer the girl afraid of the light. She became the guardian. Every night, every morning, she lived with the fear that he would escape. She locked the fridge, hid the key, kept a journal, and practiced how to smile without emotion. Because that was the only way not to fall apart. 1:12 a.m. Lucy sat upright in bed when she heard a dull thud from below the floor. She ran to the window and looked out. The gate was still closed, the streetlights still glowing. But that sound. That's not the wind. Not a rat. He's trying to break the door again. She rushed downstairs. The iron basement door beneath the staircase was shaking. No, it can't be. She bolted to the kitchen, climbed onto a chair, opened the freezer. And froze. The plastic box containing the key was gone. Lucy backed away, slipping slightly on the kitchen floor. A long trail of wet streaks stained the tiles. Signs of something, taken out. By human hands. No, no way. She turned and sprinted upstairs. Behind her, the sound of creaking hinges echoed. Then the slow, dragging footsteps from the shadows. Lucy, were you asleep? She grabbed her phone with trembling hands. The screen lit up with the emergency number 911. Emergency services, what's your emergency? My name is Lucy Garrett. I'm home alone. Someone just escaped from the basement. He's dangerous. Calm down. What's your address? 18 Maple Street. It's my house. Who escaped? Is he armed? He's my dad's brother. He attacked me before. He was locked in the basement. Now he's out. I can't hold him back anymore. It's my fault. We've received your call. A patrol car is on its way. It'll arrive in about 8 minutes. In the meantime, find a safe place. Can you lock your room door? I'll try. Please hurry. She ended the call and bolted to her room, slammed the door, turned the lock. Downstairs, the slow footsteps climbed the stairs. One step at a time. Creak, creak. Across the street, Mrs. Lisa sat up as soon as she heard distant sirens. She shook Mr. Rick awake. Get up. I told you. The police are here. It's Lucy's house, isn't it? I knew something was wrong. I knew it. Lucy, open the door. She pressed her ear to the door, trembling. That voice, it wasn't shouting. It wasn't angry. It was calm, almost gentle. There's no need to blow this out of proportion. I just want to talk. I don't like the dark, you know that. For years your father kept me locked down there. You people are cruel, don't you know that? Lucy looked around her room. She grabbed a flashlight, a pencil sharpener blade, and a can of hairspray. Then picked up her phone and typed quickly. Matt. Cops are here. Carl escaped. If I don't message again in 10 minutes, you know what to do. In the hallway, the footsteps had stopped. But a shadow remained at the door. Silence thick and suffocating. Then a whisper. Lucy. You forgot one thing. She held her breath. Your window isn't locked. Click. The latch popped from the other side. Lucy spun around. The right window flew open. Cold night air burst in, whipping the curtain. A shadowy figure flashed through the frame fast, low, like a nightmare. She screamed. Carl was inside. I'm here now, he grinned. This time, you won't lock me away. Lucy grabbed the hairspray and sprayed it straight into his face. He screamed, clutching his eyes. She kicked the door open and bolted down the hallway, yelling. Help! He's out. Someone please. The hallway lights flickered. She dashed toward the living room, reaching for the front door. But he grabbed her hair from behind. Carl yanked her down. She swung the pencil sharpener blade, slashing his arm. He hissed, but didn't let go. She kicked him hard in the stomach. He staggered, crashing into the dining table. She lunged forward, slammed her fists on the door. Just then, the blaring sound of sirens pulled up outside. Carl froze. She screamed, I'm here. He's here. Boots thundered up the porch. A male voice roared, "Police! Hands up!" Carl fled toward the basement. Two male officers chased after him. A female officer rushed to Lucy, who collapsed onto the floor, her face pale. "Are you hurt? Is anyone else in the house?" Lucy pointed toward the basement, unable to speak. In the basement, Carl was cornered. One officer drew his baton. "Hands up. Don't resist." He laughed darkly. "I didn't do anything. I was just staying over. You're accused of assaulting a minor. Attacking in the middle of the night. Hands behind your back." Carl held out his arms. "Where's your proof? Who's gonna believe a delusional little girl? We have the emergency call. And now we caught you red-handed." Carl shrugged. "Too late. You don't get it. This is just the beginning." At the same time, in the officer's arms, Lucy whispered shakily. In the fridge. There's a key. And a phone. A phone. A camera. I secretly filmed him. I kept all the videos in there." Just as Mr. Allen pulled up at the front gate, the police had set up a barrier. He jumped out, panicked, and rushed inside. "Lucy! Where's my daughter?" An officer blocked him. "Who are you?" "I'm her father. Alan Garrett. You're going to have to come with us. There's a lot to explain." Alan frowned. "What do you mean?" "Your daughter said you knew about the suspect's presence. And you left her alone with him. You need to answer for that." Lucy stepped out, wrapped in a blanket, face pale. She looked at her father, eyes shattered. "I couldn't hold him anymore." Alan stared at her, then at the wide-open basement door. A look of stunned disbelief spread across his face. A few minutes later, Matt arrived on his bike, finding the whole street lit up by flashing police lights. He dropped the bike and ran. "Lucy! Are you okay?" Lucy only nodded, tears streaming down her face. She grabbed Matt's hand tightly. "Thank you for reading my message. This is the key and phone the girl mentioned," an officer said, handing the scratched old phone to a colleague taking notes. "This phone was hidden in the freezer," the female officer confirmed. "Along with the basement key. It's clear the girl was terrified enough to hide everything like that." Lucy sat on the couch, arms wrapped around herself. Matt stood beside her, hand gently resting on her shoulder. Mrs. Lisa approached, placing a warm cup of tea on the table in front of her. "Sweet girl, drink something warm. You've been braver than most adults." Lucy didn't speak. She just stared at the phone screen being unlocked. The screen flickered, then displayed a folder of videos titled, "First Time, Second Time, Third Time." "How many times did you record him?" the officer asked quietly. "I don't remember. It's been months." The first video opened, footage from a hidden camera in the basement ceiling. The shot was dim, lighting weak, but clearly showed a man huddled in the corner, wild hair and beard, red eyes, whispering. "Open the door. Lucy. I can't eat canned food anymore, just open it a little." The footage changed. Carl began screaming, slamming the iron door. "Do you hear me? You trying to kill me? You'll pay for this." Matt turned away, face pale. The officer paused the video. "Let's look later." Another clip started. Lucy, younger than now, was seen slowly opening the basement door a crack. Carl lunged, grabbed her hand, yanked hard. The camera shook violently, the image flickered, but the scream was clear. "Let go. Stop." Carl laughed maniacally, yanked her hair, dragging her down several steps. The girl kicked, scratched. Finally, she broke free. Slammed the door shut. The camera captured her bloodied, trembling hand locking the iron latch. Mrs. Lisa burst into tears. Oh God, how long has she been living like this? Lucy spoke softly, without looking at anyone. Since the first day he attacked me, my dad knew. But he didn't do anything. The police chief frowned. You mean Mr. Allen knew about this behavior? Lucy nodded. He apologized, but he still made me lock the basement every time he left on business. I told him I was scared, and he said it would only be for a few weeks. But 2 years went by, and nothing changed. Why didn't you tell anyone earlier? I tried. But Carl said, if I told anyone, he'd kill my dad. He knew my father was hiding his records. He said, if you speak, it's not just you who dies, your father loses everything too. What records? The officer pressed. Lucy closed her eyes. His psychiatric records. And his criminal record from Springfield. At that moment, the door swung open. Mr. Allen entered, his face ashen. Lucy. Are you okay? Sit down, the officer gestured. We have a few questions. I have the right to a lawyer. You have the right to remain silent. But if there's anything you want to explain to your daughter, now's the time. Lucy stood up. She didn't cry. Her voice was soft, but sharp as ice. You left me to live with a monster. Lucy. I didn't have a choice. Carl is my brother. He had been arrested before, institutionalized. But if he got transferred again, he might. Might what? She cut in. You were afraid of embarrassment. Afraid people would find out our family has a criminal. Afraid it would affect your company. No. I just wanted to protect. You didn't protect anyone. You handed me over to him. Every time you left, you knew he was there. You knew he had attacked me. But you still left me behind. Mr. Allen trembled. I thought, you were strong enough. I'm a child, Dad. Not a prison guard. The room fell into a heavy silence. Matt gripped Lucy's hand tighter. Mrs. Lisa turned away, wiping her tears. The officer put down his pen. Mr. Allen Garrett, we will proceed to review your records. If it's confirmed that you knowingly concealed a criminal's history, you may face charges for complicity and endangerment of a minor. I'll cooperate. Lucy looked at her father one last time. What am I to you? A daughter, or a shield to hide your secrets behind? Mr. Allen lowered his head, saying nothing. Outside, an ambulance arrived to take Carl in for medical examination. As he was wheeled onto the stretcher, he was still grinning. Lucy. I'll be back. She didn't respond. She only stepped back, eyes locked on him. In her mind, images echoed, the bloodied hand, the screaming nights, the whispered threats. A female officer murmured, "It's all over now, Lucy." She nodded slightly. But inside, she knew, the wounds hadn't closed. At the district police station, Carl was brought into an interrogation room. A senior officer, stocky and tough-looking, named John, sat across from him and opened a file. Carl Garrett. Twice committed to involuntary psychiatric treatment. In 2014, you injured a social worker. In 2016, you were arrested for threatening to kill a woman. The charges were dropped after 3 months, because your guardian took responsibility, Alan Garrett. Carl chuckled. He cared for me. Family, you know. Cared. Or covered up. I didn't kill anyone. I just lived. I was locked up for 2 years. No light. No air. That kid should be grateful. I didn't kill her, though I could've. You think that erases your crimes? Carl leaned in and whispered, "What if I told you Alan did more than that? He didn't just hide my file. He knows how to make people shut up." Officer John paused. Explain. There was a report that he forced a doctor to erase. I was accused of assaulting a medical worker. But there was no proof, so Alan paid to keep my record clean. Now you all believe that girl, but don't forget she lived with me, and she didn't die. You just admitted to unlawful confinement and assaulting a minor. Carl shrugged, eyes hazy. Worth it. At least. I'll be remembered. In a small room at the Child Protective Services office, Lucy was brought in by a woman named Rose. She sat her in front of a computer. The screen displayed a list of files from the old phone that had been backed up, a total of 47 video clips, varying in length, mostly recorded at night. Lucy, you can choose which ones we'll use as key evidence in court. She selected the clips of Carl screaming, his voice shifting, pounding on the door. Then the one where he dragged her down the stairs. And finally, a clip where Carl said clearly, "If you tell anyone, I'll kill you. And your dad will lose everything." Rose nodded. "Thank you. You're very brave." Lucy stared at the screen, then whispered, "No. I'm not brave. I just didn't want to die in silence." Before leaving the police station, Alan was allowed one last meeting with Lucy under supervision. He approached, standing 3 meters away. She was sitting, her back turned. "Lucy, I know. I can't ask for your forgiveness. But I will confess everything. The truth. About Carl, the files, what I've done. If that helps ease your pain, I'll do it." Lucy didn't turn around. She replied with just one sentence. "I would forgive you, if I were someone else." Alan bowed his head and walked away in silence. When night fell over Maple Street, number 18 no longer glowed with lights. The basement door had been permanently welded shut. The layers of duct tape were replaced with fresh paint. But inside Lucy, the basement still existed. A basement no police or law could ever fully seal because it lived in her mind. Where darkness didn't just have a face, but bore the most familiar name. "I can't stay with him," Lucy said firmly. "And you won't have to," Rose replied gently, placing a hand on her shoulder. "As of today, your father no longer has custody until the court concludes. We'll take you to a shelter." "Does the shelter have a basement?" Rose hesitated. "No. And if it does, it's only for storing books and cookies." Lucy didn't smile. The 3-story building was painted a soft gray-blue, nestled on a quiet street more than 5 kilometers from the old neighborhood. The gate was tall, the trees leafy, and the air smelled faintly of baked goods. Mary was the one who greeted Lucy at the gate. She had gently curled hair and a voice as soft as a breeze. "You must be Lucy. Welcome to our shelter. No one here will ask too much, unless you feel like sharing." Lucy stood still, backpack on her shoulders, hands clenched tightly around the straps. "How long do I have to stay?" "As long as you need. But I hope you'll stay at least until you feel like you don't have to look over your shoulder when walking down the hall." "This is your bed," Mary said, opening the door to a small room. Lucy stepped inside, glancing at the cream-colored walls, the little wardrobe, the tiny desk. But what caught her attention most was the window. "You can open the window anytime you want. And if you don't like locking it, that's okay too. No one enters your room without knocking first." Lucy turned around. "Do you lock the fridge?" Mary looked puzzled. "No. Why would we? At my house, the fridge was the most dangerous place." Mary sat beside her. "Well, here we start fresh. I promise nothing in the fridge will ever hurt you." Lucy pressed her lips together and sat on the bed, still clutching the straps of her backpack. For the first 4 days, Lucy spoke to no one but Mary. She didn't go outside, didn't eat at the table, and didn't attend school. Every morning, Mary would just knock and leave a cup of warm milk and a small sweet pastry. "You can open the door if you like. If not, that's okay too. Lucy didn't open the door. But she drank. And at night, she neatly left the empty cup by the door. On the 5th day, Mary left a note. Tomorrow I'm making apple pie. If you'd like to help peel the apples, I'd be very happy. Lucy didn't reply. But at 3 p.m. the next day, as Mary was slicing apples in the kitchen, she heard the sound of a chair being pulled out. Where's the peeler? Mary didn't say anything, she simply handed it over. Lucy took it without looking and began peeling the apples. After 5 minutes, she quietly asked, has anyone here ever been locked in a basement? Someone once got locked in a bathroom, not a basement. But they learned how to open it from the inside. Lucy looked up. Were you ever locked up? Mary nodded. I used to live in a shelter like this. I was 12. My mother had passed away, my father left. But I was lucky, an old woman named and adopted me. She never asked any questions. She just taught me how to live without bowing my head. Lucy kept peeling. I've never known anyone like me. Well, now you do. That night, Lucy opened her bedroom door. Mary was making tea in the kitchen. Can I go outside? The door's always open. Lucy stepped out. The yard had a small swing and a hammock swaying beneath a pomegranate tree. She sat on the swing, gently pushing with her feet. The moon was dim. The breeze was soft. For the first time in months, there were no growls, no pounding on doors, no shadows lurking behind curtains. Matt texted. How are you feeling today? She replied. Good. No one locks the fridge here. Matt. Good. My mom asked if you like orange marmalade. She wants to send you a jar. Lucy smiled. As long as it's not in a metal can, that's fine. The next morning, Mary invited Lucy to go grocery shopping. You can pick anything. Candy, snacks, fruits, juice, anything you like. Lucy hesitated. What if I pick the wrong thing? Then you try again next time. No one gets punished for choosing wrong. At the food section, Lucy stood for a long time in front of the refrigerated cases. Another girl quickly opened a door, grabbed a milk carton, and walked away. But Lucy, she just stood there, staring at the cold handle. You don't have to open it if you don't want to, Mary said gently. Lucy shook her head. Then slowly reached out and touched the handle. There was no lock. No chains. She opened it. Cold air drifted out. But there was nothing scary inside. Just milk, butter, a few ice creams, and cheese. She took a strawberry milk carton and turned back. All done. Mary smiled. Well done. That evening, Mary knocked on Lucy's door. Would you like to come to the park with me tomorrow? There's a small book fair. You like reading, don't you? Lucy hesitated. I don't have any money. I do. And today is your pick-a-day. Lucy looked at Mary and said softly, this is the first time in my life someone's asked what I want, instead of what I can endure. And you deserve that. At the park the next day, Mary picked out a children's book for herself, while Lucy chose a new notebook with a soft lavender cover. What do you plan to write in it? Mary asked. Lucy answered quietly, nothing about basements. On the way back to the center, Mary gently asked, have you ever thought about living with a new family? Lucy didn't answer right away. After a while, she asked, have you ever thought about being a mom? Mary was taken aback. If there's a child who wants to call me mom, then yes, I'd be ready. Lucy bit her lip. I've never called anyone mom, except the one I lost. But if I called you mom, would it be too much? Mary gently held her hand. No. I just feel grateful. Lucy looked up. I'll think about it. That weekend, Mary made spaghetti for dinner. Lucy cleaned her plate, then for the first time, spoke out loud at the dinner table. "Ma'am, I want to go back to school tomorrow." Everyone looked up. Mary beamed. "All right. I'll file a school transfer for you." Lucy nodded. "And, if possible, I want to change my last name." "What name do you want?" Lucy whispered, eyes glistening. "Lucy Ann. Like the woman who once saved you." "Lucy, the court called me today," Mary said as she stepped into the room, carrying 2 mugs of hot cocoa. "About Carl and my father?" "Yes. They'll deliver the preliminary verdict. I think, if you want, you could come with me." Lucy set down her lavender notebook. I need to hear it. Just once." The courtroom was small. Only a few attendees, lawyers for the prosecution and defense, a few officers, and representatives from the district attorney's office. Carl, handcuffed, looked thinner than the last time Lucy had seen him. His eyes were still red, but the fire in them was gone. Lucy sat quietly in the back. The defendant, Carl Garrett, upon review of the submitted evidence including surveillance videos provided by the victim, witness statements, and medical reports, the court finds the defendant guilty of the following: unlawful confinement, assault of a minor, criminal threats, and bodily harm. Total sentence, 18 years in prison, without the possibility of reduction. Carl smirked, turning his head to find Lucy in the crowd. But she had already turned away. The clerk continued. As for the defendant Alan Garrett, charged with harboring a dangerous individual, willfully endangering a minor, and tampering with medical records, the court declares. The defendant is sentenced to 2 years of suspended prison time, and is permanently stripped of custodial rights over the victim, Lucy Garrett. Mary squeezed Lucy's hand. "Are you okay?" "I don't know. But I don't want him to apologize anymore. I want him to stay silent." That afternoon, Mary and her husband Ethan sat across from Lucy in the center's family room. On the table was a folder with the Department of Social Services seal. "Lucy," Mary began, "we've finished all the paperwork." Lucy sat still. Ethan smiled and reached out his hand. "From today on, you're legally part of our family. If you want to be. I won't have to leave again." "No. Won't have to live with strangers." "No. Won't have to lock doors." Mary smiled. "Unless you want to study in peace." Lucy bit her lip, then let out a small laugh. I want to stay." Ethan opened a small gift box and handed it to her. "This is your key to the new house. Blue door, number 6, at the end of the street." Lucy took it, her hands shaking. "I've never had my own key before." Mary whispered, "Then this is the beginning." Their new home was small, but warm. It had windows facing the garden, a backyard with lavender, and 2 cats named Cho and Neve. Inside was a bright kitchen, a large wooden dining table, and what caught Lucy's attention first, a pristine white refrigerator with no lock. "You can open it whenever you want," Mary said. "Food is no longer a weapon here." Lucy walked around it, gently touching the handle. She took a deep breath, then opened the door. Inside were familiar things: strawberry milk, apples, flan, butter, eggs. Nothing strange. Exactly. Just food. Lucy closed it and turned. "I'll never lock a fridge again." When it was time to pack, Mary asked, "What do you want to bring from the center?" Lucy only took her lavender notebook and a small slip of paper with one sentence written on the first line. "I'm not trapped anymore." Mary asked, "What about your name? You said you wanted to change it." Lucy nodded. "I'll keep Lucy. But for the last name, I'll take Ann. After your first adoptive mother." Ethan smiled. "Lucy Ann. That's a beautiful name. Strong." "I think so too." The following week, Lucy returned to school. New school. New friends. No one there knew about Carl or Mr. Allen. When the teacher asked, "Where did you go to school before?" she simply answered, "Somewhere far away." A girl named Rebecca, who sat next to her, turned and said, "You draw really well." "Thanks. I usually draw during recess. Can you bring some tomorrow?" "I'd love to see." Lucy nodded. Something inside her began to bloom, like a small seed in a field once torn apart. One evening, after the family finished dinner, Ethan said, "Tomorrow will be our first family grocery trip with all three of us. You'll pick the main dish." Lucy looked surprised. "Me?" "Yep. Each week, one person picks the menu. This week, it's your turn." "Then, spaghetti, is that okay?" "Of course. But don't forget a salad to go with it." "I'll make it." Mary placed her hand on Lucy's shoulder. "Every time you say, 'I'll make it,' I feel proud." Lucy lowered her head and smiled. "Because this time, I'm doing it not out of fear, but because I want to." One morning, as Mary was folding clothes, Lucy walked in holding her old journal. "There's something I want to show you." Mary sat down. Lucy opened to the last page. The handwriting was small and neat. "There was a time when I lived in a basement without a lock because the person who locked me in was the only one I wanted to trust. But now, I live in a house where every door can open, and none of them need locks because no one here wants me to be afraid anymore." Mary gently closed the journal. "You're ready." "Ready for what?" "For the future." That night, after everyone had gone to bed, Lucy went to the kitchen alone. She opened the fridge, took out a tub of vanilla ice cream, and sat down on the floor, leaning against the wall. In the soft yellow light, she opened the lid and took a spoonful. Cold. But sweet. And real. No more screaming. No more footsteps in the dark. Just the peace of a home that needed no locks. Lucy whispered to herself, "I was chosen. Not kept." Early the next morning, when Mary came downstairs, she saw the opened ice cream tub and a small note beside it. "I will live. And this time, not just to endure but to enjoy." Lucy's story is a powerful reminder that silence is not protection, but a lingering wound. No one, not even family, has the right to gamble with a child's safety or childhood for any reason. Speaking out with courage is the first step to shattering the darkness. And when someone listens with their whole heart, healing becomes real. Freedom doesn't come from running away from the past. It comes from living in the present without fear.